Alright, welcome to Science Pros, and today we're going to be covering a really interesting topic, and that is scientific misconduct. Now, the article that we're going to be looking at was published in the Public Library of Science, which is a really great peer-reviewed journal. It's a public access journal, and it's open source, so definitely feel free to check that one out. And the researchers in this article, they did a literature review, which basically means that they went through to find all the research papers on this topic, to break down their results, and to basically give you a combined set of their results. The researchers searched a wide range of literature resources in the social sciences using keywords involving scientific misconduct. They only included research which specifically asked about misconduct that was directly observed or that researchers participated in. They also filtered the results to only papers that identified the frequency in the percentage of misconduct, which also included the option of never or none. And this was to make sure that they were comparing apples to apples between the research papers. They also removed papers that did not use a high-quality methodology and basically produced results that were unreliable. They weighted each of the studies based on quality and produced a weighted average of all the studies used. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to focus on the weighted averages in this review. In the studies examined, between 0.5% and 5% reported personally engaging in misconduct, including modifying or falsifying data, with more reporting modifying than falsifying. For participating in misconduct, the review found a weighted average of 1.9%. For other misconduct, such as changing methodology at the request of a funder or tossing out data based on a gut feeling, they only used an unweighted average, and that was at 9%. Between 5% and 33% reported having observed such activity, which makes sense given that more people are going to observe a behavior than actually participate in it. And the pooled weighted average of this was 14.12% of people observed this type of behavior. All in all, they found that 2% reported personally engaging in misconduct, while about 14% reported observing misconduct. As the researchers highlighted, typically misconduct is underreported in surveys, so these numbers are probably a conservative estimate. So what's the main takeaway? Fabrication is pretty rare, but it does happen. And we have to remember that in these surveys, it's people responding with at least once. And so hopefully this is just a one-time event for most people. That said, it might not be. All in all, we can't conclude that 2% of all research is fabricated. We only know that 2% of scientists have at some point participated in fabricating research. And once again, that's probably a conservative estimate. So, moving forward, this is a relatively controversial issue, and we need to make sure that continuing research is performed into this so that we know where the general consensus is of how many people are actually engaging in misconduct and how bad that misconduct is. So far, it really looks like it's not a large issue in terms of a percentage, but 2% is still a significant enough percentage to have an impact in the peer-reviewed literature. So it's always good to make sure that we keep up with these numbers to see if there's any trends or increases or decreases. And we should probably do further research into what specific fields and areas that the misconduct is actually happening and why it's happening. In the meantime, just make sure you follow these tips to make sure that your research is high quality. If it's cited by a lot of people and it's published in a high quality peer-reviewed journal, you're probably less likely to have some fabrication in there. That said, there are still some fabricated information that gets into the peer-reviewed literature. So what you have to make sure is not only do you look at the peer-reviewed literature, but you should also try and find contradictory papers and make sure that you're verifying the results with other results that different people have. That's one of the reasons why studies like this one, a literature review, have a lot of value, because they're really good at weeding out studies that don't have great methodology and trying to build a sort of consensus around an issue. Thank you for watching the channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date.